another interview today. I got two very special guests. I have my husband here, Will, and his best friend, Tez. And they have a very unique story to tell you. And I basically wanted to let them tell you what they experienced. I'm not going to do too much introduction. Would you like to begin with the story?
Yeah. All right, so I told the story before on the channel. I was talking about I saw this witch lady in my bedroom. She was sucking her fingers. It was real strange. I said I saw it again with one of my friends, but the story was so outrageous it's hard to believe. But I actually have that friend here, so I feel more comfortable telling the story now. What happened with that story was we were coming back from playing basketball. We were driving down the street back to my house, making a right turn on the corner. Telling the story about the old lady, I was saying she had real stringy hair. I was giving all the descriptions of how she looks. And as we're turning, I look over to my left, and there's a truck next to us. And in that truck, there's a lady that looks kind of like this lady, right? I'm like, man, that's an ugly lady. She looks like she's half past dead. So I'm staring at her, and I'm like, I wonder if they see this. So I look over at my friends, like, yeah, I'm telling the story, like, y'all see this? But nobody's like seeing this lady. And all of a sudden I hear Tez go, ah! And then I look back over, and she was sucking her fingers. And I was like, she looked like that. She looked like that. And then he jumps over in my friend's lap, hits the pedal, he skirts out. He's like, oh! And everybody's like, what? It was crazy. We drive down the street. My other two friends, they didn't see it, and they were like, what was it? And he was like, what do you mean, what was it? He was like, turn around, I want to see it. He was like, turn around, I ain't chasing that shit. I ain't no Ghostbuster. So we drive down the street, and everybody's all discombobulated off of what just happened. The other truck, when he started screaming, and we were all looking and stuff, pulled over the curb, like, truck did one of those moves, and it was just absolutely crazy. But I guess what we want to hear is from your side, you know what I'm saying, well, what you seen from your point of view.
Well, actually, you summed it up pretty good. I remember turning the corner, and right over to my left, I saw the lady who had the long, stringy hair, and it just instantly gave me like a real creepy kind of vibe. So I focused a little bit more, and at that point, I jumped over to the side, but I still had to drive. So, I kind of pushed the gas pedal trying to jump away, and I kind of skirted off, and whoever was driving that car, I don't know, they hit the curb when they turned the corner, and their car kind of tipped up. And some of the guys in the neighborhood could see everything that happened, and I think they kind of was confused with the whole situation as well. But it was real weird, real creepy, and at that point, our friends wanted to go back and chase it, but I was not trying to go chase nothing like that. It was really weird, and still to this day, I can't even really explain it in detail how creepy it was, because it seems so weird to see something like that in public. Like, you hear about it in your home, you hear about it stories of people inside a place, but never outside in a car.
Tess, I really appreciate that input that you just gave on that. But I just want to ask you, have you ever experienced anything after that's been anything similar?
Yes. That was actually when he told us that story, that was actually the start of everything for me. After that night, I think a couple nights later, I remember calling him because I went home and I was living by, was I living? Yeah. No, I wasn't living by myself at that point. I was still living with my parents. But at that point, I remember going back home, and a couple nights later, I remember my bed, like in the middle of the night, it was about 3 o'clock in the morning, my bed started shaking.
I've experienced that as well.
Yeah. And that was the start of it. From there on, I remember having multiple experiences, and I remember calling him and telling him, like, I think that spirit followed me home. So that was actually the start of it all, to be honest. And from that point on, I experienced multiple, situations where, like, middle of the night, and actually still to this day. But the main one that I really experienced was a start in my condo. I was married at the time, and someone got murdered in the condo, kind of down attached to my building. I was on one end. The other end of the condo, someone was murdered there. And I remember my bed shaking. It was in October. It was right around Halloween time. And I remember my bed shaking really bad. And I thought it was kind of crazy, but I thought my wife would have felt it, sleeping in the same bed, but she never felt anything. And that started at like 3 o'clock or 3:30. It was always between 3 and 3:30 in the morning.
Yes, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but like what year was that?
That situation
Estimate.
had to be maybe 2009, 2008, somewhere in that range.
Okay.
And yeah, the bed was shaking pretty bad. And she didn't feel it, but ever since it occurred, like for about almost 2 weeks straight, every night, same time, I would wake up 3 o'clock on the dot, 3:30 on the dot, and my bed was shaking. And I kept asking my wife if she ever felt it. She never felt it, and she thought that I was crazy. But you know, it was nothing. I never would wake her up. I would just I would pray every time I pray.
That's what you gotta do.
I say some prayers, try to close my eyes, and try to keep moving. I remember one time that happened, and it was so bad to the point where I couldn't even move. I could feel it, but I couldn't move my arms or anything to like try to wake her up to get her attention. It was just like I was paralyzed, and that was probably the worst occurrence that I had, in that house. But then after, when all of this was going on, my wife also had a cat. And I came home from work one day, and the door was cracked open. And I remember calling Will for that too. I came home, my front door was actually cracked open. We had been to work all day. We had a cat. Now, everybody knows if a door is open, a cat will, slide out. 8 hours, 9 hours, a work day, and your door is open, a cat is going to walk out. Well, the cat, when I came home, the cat was upstairs, and it was looking like really crazy. So I remember I walked in, and I got this real weird vibe, and it wasn't like, naturally you would think someone is in your house, someone broke in, but I didn't get that vibe. I actually got a real, it was like a cold, creepy vibe. Kind of vibe when I walked in, and I knew something wasn't right. So I went in, and I looked, and the cat was in a corner, and it was looking scared. The second the cat saw me, it took off running around the house, and it was like staring up in the ceiling, at the ceiling. And I kept looking, and I didn't see anything, but at that point, I left. I immediately left the house. Now, it's daylight, it's daytime, very bright in the house. I mean, you will know the house had tons of windows. So, coming in, it was a ton of natural light, but it was really creepy to the point where I left the house. And it took a minute for me to get back the courage to even go back in the house at that point. But, I've experienced quite a few. It's so many I probably couldn't even sit here and tell the stories. But overall, though, I mean, it's real.
The car, we was in the car together.
The car, yeah. Now I let Will tell the car story. It was another.
We were in high school at the time, probably 16, 17, around that age. And I remember he had a Dodge Spirit, and we were in the car, and we were just talking about whatever. I don't remember we were talking about at the time, but the doorknobs were, the door locks, they were to kind of go up and down, and they started going up and down at the same time, all four of them. It was like, and it probably went on for 15 seconds. So we looked at each other, looked back at the doors. We're like, what's going on? You know what I mean? And then it just stopped. And then when it stopped, we heard like this little girl laughing, like, ha 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 ha. And then we were like, did you hear that? He was like, yeah, it was a little girl laughing. I'm like, oh man, what? Check your phone. We said it at the same time, check your phone. So we look at the phones, see if we had like a call or a missed call. Somebody's on the phone. Nothing on the phone and nothing like that. So I was like, we should get out this car. So we got out the car and ran in the house. But yeah, we had a whole bunch of crazy.
And I mean,
do you think it's weird that it was a Dodge Spirit?
Right, I know.
That's why I remember.
It's very ironic. But it was really weird. I mean, again, it's like it was just that feeling again, that vibe that you get. It's definitely the feeling
I
that
felt
you
it
get.
Weird feeling.
And we both knew then like something wasn't right. The crazy part is the doors were locked and we couldn't open them. And that was the crazy part. So
You feel like you're trapped.
when they locked, we couldn't open them. We
Yeah,
both
we
tried
stuck.
to open them, and we kept trying to unlock it, and it wouldn't unlock. Finally, we were able to get it to unlock, but the doors were not open initially, and that was real weird. I mean,
Yeah, strange. A lot
definitely.
of weird stuff.
But yeah, but I'll definitely come back and tell more stories.
Well, guys, there you have it. I mean, here it is, firsthand evidence of stuff that's happened that has been beyond belief. And these guys are here to give their living testimony for it. So you can believe it or you cannot, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
So thank you for listening, and we appreciate everybody.
Right.
Thank you guys.
Thanks.